Morning, welcome to today's Check Chat. I'm joined by my colleague Philip Dodge. Morning, Phil.
Morning, Will.
How are you?
I'm fine and dandy, thank you. Yourself?
Good, all good. So today I wanted to look at shop floor data collection, which will allow us to track jobs, collecting real-time information, giving you cost analysis, and also allows your colleague on the shop floor to account for their day. Phil, can you show us a pre-recorded video of shop floor data capture?
Absolutely, Will. Just bear me a second. I shall share my screen and then we'll basically fire that video up and we can actually go through it. Okay, so as you can see, this is the shop floor data collection system that will be on computers and tablets. You can see that each one of these represents what is referred to as a terminal. In this case, we have a LITO terminal. You can see there are options to look at operators and job information. So the first thing that obviously an operator would do on the shop floor is they would actually find themselves in the list at the beginning of the session. And you can see that I can actually find myself and select myself, or I can use those buttons there to find the name of myself in the list. I select myself, and then what I do is I choose the shift that I'm actually working on, just to confirm that with the actual system. And I'm basically into the system, but you'll notice there's a security feature here where I have to actually enter in a PIN code to identify that it is actually me, so we can't get other colleagues coming in as me. You can see that we're actually on, in this particular, the XL75 terminal, but I can actually change the designated resource because obviously the terminal can support multiple resources. And then what I'm also able to actually see here is the last operations that I've done in a specified period of time. So I can actually identify what I did in the last month, week, day, etc. If I'm actually asked on the shop floor what I was doing, a couple of days ago, etc. But when I hit the start operation button, what this does is it presents a work to list from the production schedule. You'll notice that there's a whole bunch of columns here that can be added and configured so that I can see key data. And I can actually then toggle through the different pages to actually see the sequence of those job and job parts as defined by the scheduler. And you're just seeing there where I'm actually changing the detail of the customer and title, so I can toggle between the customer and the title. I'm also able to actually click into a little eye area there to look at the information attributed to this job, so you can see the description narrative that came from the estimate onto the actual job itself. And all the other pertinent details. I can even click this little job bag button, or method button I should say, to actually show me some information. The job bag button allows me to actually literally open the electronic works instruction ticket on the screen. So if I wanted to, I could go literally paperless if I wanted to actually do that process. And I've also got information to actually look at the inks that are attributed to it. In addition, we can also see all the operations, so what is estimated, actual and planned basically inside this list. Now, we also have some other features there where we can actually look at the notes that have been attributed to this particular job by the CSR, and I'm able as the shop floor person to even post notes back, so that we're kind of doing a bi-directional communication. And in this particular case, as you can see, I'm just adding a brief note basically to the actual job so that the CSR can actually see this, and that will be logged against the actual system accordingly. In addition to that, we can see any deliveries or pre-ships that have actually taken place. And we're able to open up that to actually see a whole set of details associated with that, including some instruction details. And we can do that for both outwork and just job deliveries as well. Now, in addition to that, I've just shown here there's a proofing capability as well. It wouldn't normally be associated to a printing terminal, but it's just to indicate that we can actually see the status of the actual proofs, and we can even upload artworks if we need to do so, as we can see there using the upload button. Now, in addition to all this information, we can then actually issue the actual stocks from the shop floor data collection terminals in the job, or just basically from the terminal. You can see I'm actually doing an issue there, and this is actually then issuing that material from the inventory to the actual job accordingly. We also have other functionality in there to actually see, kind of like what's actually been issued, and also we've got the outwork areas here looking at obviously stuff that's awaiting to actually be dispatched. Now, there is a documents feature as well, so we can actually see all attached documentation that has actually been linked to this particular job. So you can even see a visual of the thing that we intend to actually print, which could obviously be handy for the shop floor guys. And then finally, there's something called a milestone feature, key steps, that you can actually trigger, and that will change both the status and color on the production schedule and the job costing routine as well, or the job lists. Now, if I just select my job, what I'm doing here is I can either choose to select a group of operations or an individual granular operation. So I'm just doing a quick run, and I can also see any of the production notes that had been previously put in there, so the previous department's notes. And I may have, in this case, optional thing as well, something called a print passport, which can track key pieces of information that's held in SQL for reporting. So we can see that the operator's done some key stages here, and I've now started the operation. Now you'll notice we can do things like interrupting, we can do finishing, etc. And you'll notice that inside the job list, this has now updated the actual milestone and the current operation status. So the CSRs can see what's actually happening to their jobs accordingly. So we could also interrupt if there was a problem with the actual job, for instance. But in this case, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to finish the actual job accordingly to say that it's actually been produced. Again, the print passport there, I confirm the quantity that's been produced with any wastage by utilising the little pin tab there. And then basically I can basically put any commentary as well, which I can even browse to a library, and then I can finish the operation and confirm that it has actually been produced. And that will remove it from the production scheduling board, but it will also post the times back to the job. Now we're also able in here as well to actually get information attributed to a job, and what you can do here is just enter in a job number, and even though we haven't started it, we can actually see information pertaining to that particular job. Again, we get all the information we saw before, so we don't have to start a job to look at the information attributed to it. And then the final thing there is I'm actually clocking off of the system, i.e. I finish my shift. And when I actually clock off, again, I have to put my PIN code in order to confirm that it is actually me. And when I actually do that, what will happen is it will actually create basically, as you can see there, a clocking log to indicate what labour and material postings I've done. And that basically covers most of the operations within inside the actual system. But what we're going to show you quickly now is Fast Track IDC, which is a variant of it using barcode technologies. So you can see that what we've actually got here is me scanning myself, and it identifies that I'm into the actual system. I can then barcode the job number, and you'll notice that because this is in a tracking mode, it just instantly disappeared, but it's up the actual job list, as you can see, to show the milestone and current operation, particularly useful for pre-press operations. Now, the next thing we're going to show you is a start-stop function, a bit like conventional IDC, where, again, I'm actually confirming who I am. I'm on a particular start-stop resource, and then I'm starting the actual job, and you'll notice that I'm starting the job on the actual Indigo, and then at the end, I'm confirming the quantity, which could actually be done through barcoding. In this case, I'm just typing it in, and I'm confirming that this particular job or job part is actually complete. And again, what that will actually do is that will update the order entry list or job list. And we're actually just going to quickly show you that. And you can see that that's actually updated both the milestone and the current operation. Now, the last fast track capability is something called batch tracking, and in this particular case it's about doing multiple things. So we can see that I'm confirming who I am, and then basically I'm going to basically do an operation such as a fold make ready, or it could be a run, and then what I can actually do is a batch of jobs. So this allows me to, instead of doing start stop for 2 or more jobs, I can actually start multiple jobs for, say, a run operation, let's say, and then basically when I finish this, it will then prorate that time back to each of the jobs that are a part of that particular batch. So I'm just doing an example here, and basically when I finish this, it would post the elapsed time back on a pro rata basis back to each of those jobs. So it's a much quicker and faster routine. So that basically, I'm just going to finish my share there, is the end of the demonstration.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Phil. Really informative. And thank you everyone for watching. If you've got any questions, you can contact us at hello@Thorsten. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.